Smart 24, driving business.
We'll be back from the break. You're still watching Smart Men's Business, your daily Kickstarter for the day. I'm Anji Bariji. And of course, before I will get into any further discussions this morning, as we're heading straight into our business insight, and this time around, of course, rotating on the Global Road Safety Week. And I have guests already who have already joined me on set. But of course, before we get there, don't forget the markets on the Zabo platform, which have already opened as I speak right now. They open at 8:15 a.m., closing at 3:15 p.m. That is Monday up to Friday, except on the weekends and the public holidays when you can access these markets. Now, what do you need to do for you to be a part of this? The dial star 292 hash, and this will avail with quite lots of options where you can choose to buy government bonds and securities for just as little as 15,000 Ugandan shillings. Well, you can choose to invest more, but Zabo says start with 15,000. Buy the company bonds, government bonds, company securities, and that is something very key and essential for your prosperity. Now, the market's open for Friday, except on the weekends and the public holidays when you can't access these markets. But this is quite a sure way for you to make some good money for you as a side income. Zabo says my money, my future, and also East Africa says do something new. Well, now heading straight into our business discussions at this very time. Like I said, it's the Global Safety Week 2023 rather. And quite lots of prospects as we anticipate should really be undertaken throughout this week. Now, I'm joined with Cuthbert Singoma and Frederick Yapi, and these road safety experts in so many related categories. And of course, they're going to have a brief introduction as we get into these discussions very deeper. Mr. Cuthbert, you're very welcome.
Thank you.
And Mr. Frederick Yapi, you're also very welcome on the show.
Thank you.
A very good morning to you.
Thank you for hosting us.
Okay. Now, it's very interesting. According to statistics, according to reports 2022, they say that government spends about 236 million, and estimation that is on a daily, to treat accident victims. And I believe that's quite a big figure, which could have been invested in other. Of course, that's inevitable. Accidents will always be there, but we can at least minimize on the rate of effect. Well, now looking at centering our discussion on the key messages of the 7th UN Global Road Safety Week, there is this aspect of governments needing their partners to the need to rethink mobility. How does this apply to us as a country? Let's localize it for Uganda. I'll start with Mr. Cuthbert.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Good morning, our viewers and listeners. The issue of rethinking mobility would reduce the crashes we have in this country. If you look at the mobility we have currently, we're only having one mode of mobility, and that is road transport. Now, the road transport we have, it's where all the crashes we're having. I don't want to call them accidents because accidents.
What's the difference?
Are things that you can avoid, but crashes are things that we do almost knowingly.
We are aware when you crash.
We are aware when we crash because we are aware that when you overspeed, you will crash.
Okay.
Drive, you will crash. So basically, the things that happen in a road crash are different from those that happen in an accident.
Okay.
So that's why that's the difference. So in these crashes, when you look at them, they all happen on the roads. If we think of doing other modes of transport, if we think of using, say, because now the rethinking of mobility is for asking government to provide things like non-motorized transport. Non-motorized transport is providing provisions like walkways for people to be able to walk. There are some distances that you see that you border, which distance you can really walk. You go on a border not because you want to travel very fast or what, but because you don't have anywhere to walk from.
To go. Very true.
So you would have ridden a bicycle maybe, but you decide to use the motorized transport. So we're asking government that can we rethink of the mobility? Can we try to use other modes of transport apart from the motorized transport we are having?
Okay.
This reduces a number of things. It reduces also the carbon emissions. These vehicles we are having producing a lot of carbon emissions, which if we reduce the number of vehicles we are having, we can reduce the carbon emission. If we can reduce, because we are rethinking alternative transport, but we're even thinking of mass transport. Other than having these small mini cars, we can have one big car that takes us all, or one big train or one big ship. That reduces also the carbon emissions. So we're asking government, the world is asking governments to rethink the mobility they are having, especially in the cities.
Okay. Mr. Kiapi Frederick, rethinking mobility, how should we understand it in the Ugandan context?
Well, as my colleague has elaborated in near Cuthbert, what we all need to do is our responsibility, so that we see that road crashes on our roads reduce. And the key things he has elaborated on, they call upon us as either the states, which are member countries for the UN, that we have a decade, the UN decade for road safety, 2020-2030, and it has some pillars. Pillars which governments are mandated to make sure that they are implemented when they are designing roads, when they are budgeting for roads, especially to make sure that there is mobility combined with the issues that affect the citizenry that use the different modes of transport. Like Engineer Cuthbert has said that Uganda is mostly a country of roads. We invest so much in roads, but are these roads are they at ease? Are they accessible? Do they have that free feel of mobility for everybody?
That when I walk, I feel safe.
Very safe. If you're a pedestrian and you walk on Kampala Road, are you safe? If you're a disabled person, you want to access a road somewhere, is it safe for you? In case you're having a wheelchair, in case you're on crutches, if a student or children going to school, especially primary children, are you able to access roadways to your school? Are you safe reaching your school? Or are you safe from school to home? So it's by the way, that in mobility, rethink mobility, we need to rethink the way we do things. It's not business as usual. We have to think globally as a country, so that if a country is trying to design roads, is everybody safe on that road?
That's very key question. And also there is actually something still related to safety here, that safety must be at the core of efforts to reimagine mobility, and this puts road safety at the core of all road users. Anyway, maybe skipping that, it might be a little kind of similar to what we've just been talking about, because we are pointing out the 7 key messages for this year's global road safety. Now, they say that road networks must be designed with the most at risk in mind, and that of course the children, the people that are liable to, that are victims of road security, children, adolescents, persons with disabilities, then of course pedestrians and users of public transports. Now that's they are saying when they're establishing these road networks, they should put most at risk in mind. To what extent in Uganda have we tried to do that? And maybe actually, because I feel, apart from the few privileged to stay in certain areas, I don't really think most of our roads here feel safe to walk. And there is also this aspect is that people don't follow the traffic rules. Someone drives a one way. So despite the fact that we try to put all these together, how are we going to control some of these? I think it comes back to individuality as individuals. Because I think even though we construct roads to their safety, and with the individuals that use these roads lack a discipline, it might be in vain. What do you have to say about that?
One thing I would say about that, you see, when government provides these facilities, they also must teach us how to use the facilities.
Okay.
It is not on with the individuals. We don't know these things. Because if you provide, say, a walkway or a zebra crossing or a flyover, these things you must also teach me how to use them. You don't think that because you provided them, I know how to use them. I don't know how to use them. So it's upon government again to raise people's awareness on how to use facilities. Like currently they're building the flyover. They must teach people how to use that flyover.
Okay.
Not everybody will have to access
the flyover,
especially the flyover, the elevated areas.
Okay, yeah.
Not everybody. So this is the time now to start teaching us how these facilities will work. So you don't just provide facilities and think that the people will know how to use these facilities. They don't know. So it's upon government to also raise people's awareness.
Yeah.
It's upon us to use the facilities like we've been instructed. When you see, again, I want to make a comment about the flyover we're having, the flyover project. There are areas that pedestrians will not be allowed to cross, like the clock tower down, the downside. So
why?
They've already built for you the facilities up to use. So you're expected to walk from up.
So you're not expected to walk from down?
Don't walk from down.
If you're knocked, it's on your risk.
It's your risk. It's your responsibility. So these are some of the things that the government has to come out and teach. So the road safety we are doing is a responsibility for everybody.
Okay.
Many times people think, recently we were in Ministry of Education, in KCCA, the Education Department, and they think that road safety is not their responsibility. But Education Department has a stake in road safety.
Yeah, because I've seen many school children that during terms
they use the roads,
and they're the ones which lead to jam most.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they are the most at risk. They are the ones who are injured most. They're the ones who are knocked most. So, Ministry of Education and all the other agencies of government that are handling education facilities must take this up. They should not think that this is something to do with works or engineering department, but no, this is for everybody. Departments like rehabilitation, which falls under Ministry of Gender, that one should take keen interest in road safety because the majority of the people who are disabled are a result of road safety.
Road safety
so that's why they must have a keen interest in road safety because they should not allow disabled people to increase. So that's why all these. In fact, all of us are responsible. You, the media, you also have a stake in this thing.
Very, very
yes.
big one. Mr. Kiapi, you add anything to add on what Engineer Cuthbert just said?
Yeah, also it comes to, like how Engineer said, our individual interest in what we are doing. There's, like Uganda, I think we lack that kind of discipline on our roads. You've seen sector-wise, either me walking on the road, someone driving on the road. Even now, if you notice, if you go downtown, even diplomats have become like VVIPs. They also have escorts. So they're also trying to intimidate everyone on the road.
On the road, yeah.
Motorcyclists, borders, taxis, everybody is unruly now on the road. If you go on downtown, you might think that we are living in a city that's way back in 1945, where there's no discipline on the road, where there are no rules. Because you see now, as we try to reach out to everybody to understand road safety, even us as individuals, at our individual, we have to have that discipline when you're on the road. If there are facilities for children, if there's a zebra crossing, if someone's crossing, you stop. If the traffic lights are saying red, you stop.
You stop.
But even now, everybody doesn't want to stop on traffic lights. Either driving a red car or a diplomatic car, or even they have seen the two other number plates also that have come on board on abusing the road rules. That is the white and red, even the white and blue. So everybody thinks that he has the right to win.
The right to win.
Even borders have turned that into a game, riding any direction they take. If there's a lead car, they also after the vehicle first, everybody follows. Actually,
that's why I made a statement of people driving one ways. I've faced scenarios whereby I've survived being knocked. Actually, there's one I was a victim. I'm crossing the road, I'm looking up because I know it's a one way. I don't know where this guy came from. And it's in city center. Anyway, now it comes back to the parliament yesterday passing a law about fines for roads, driving beyond the speed limit. from actually before it was 200,000, but now they have increased it to 2 million. Of course, we're waiting for the president to assent to it and sign it to become official. But I would think that would be quite also essential if we look into penalties, because you talked about crashing, whereby you know that you're driving fast and you know that you're going to hurt someone somewhere along the way, and I think this is something very key. Some time back we had issues of speed governors which were actually put out there. Engineer Cuthbert, do you think that was a wise idea? Is it applicable now? Because here I find somebody can actually, you see some people have vehicles that are really so hyped up in speed that even they can overtake the traffic officers in that. But now if you have that something put in them, of course they know that they can't go beyond a certain limit. Do you think it would be a good idea to revive them?
Yes, reviving speed governors is a good idea, especially for public transport, whereby you are having many people's lives at risk. Yeah. For an individual, well, if that's what he wants, he can die on his own. But if you're given responsibility to transport people who are not your family, you have a responsibility and a duty to see that they arrive safely. So having a speed governor in your vehicle is a must. Okay. That one we don't have any compromise. We are saying let's have it. For the fines, yes, these fines must be punitive. Yeah. Because people here are they don't mind. They will say, "I'll pay the ticket." If he thinks because they have the money. It's 200,000 or 100,000. That one is, people will say, "I'll pay." For us, in fact, in other countries, it is very expensive. You cause death to people, you go to prison. Many years, not even a fine. They don't even look at fines. You've murdered someone. Go to prison. Go out of the roads. So they are also going to bring other punitive measures of demeriting someone's driving license, so that they reduce on the points you have. So when you reach a time and you don't have any points on your driving license, you're not allowed to drive on the road. So some of these measures that government is bringing, they are very good and they will help in reduction of crashes on the road. Yes.
Then, of course, with a few minutes to wind up, your last remarks, Engineer Cuthbert.
My last remarks, I would appeal to all of us as road users to respect one another. I know many times someone thinks he has a bigger car than a smaller car. If someone is riding a motorcycle, he's bigger than someone riding a bicycle. You don't respect him. Someone driving a car is bigger than a motorcycle. You don't. So let's respect each other. And the person who has this least mode of transport is the person who should be respected the most on the road. If someone is a pedestrian or someone is a disabled person on the road, that one is the most respected person on the road, not the one with the biggest car. In fact, the least respected on the road are the people with the biggest cars, the trucks and so on, those monster cars. So let's respect each other on the road and let's observe and be responsible on the roads.
Okay, Mr. Kepi Frederick, what's your last remarks for this day?
For me, as we celebrate the UN Global Road Safety Week, we all have for responsibility, as Senior says, to have discipline on the road. Yes. So that my life matters, your life matters. You never know how we are going to end. The day, you leave home, you don't know whether you'll go back. So one of the key things for me, I say that as individuals, when you're on the road, let us have discipline. Then the governments, let us enforce the law, especially the traffic police. Let them enforce the law, so that each one of us has a middle ground. I leave home, I'll be able to go back home. And then also, my last take, let us protect the children when they're on the road. Children matter a lot, because like how we said in the beginning, the highest number of road crashes globally are the youngest people, between the age of 13 to 25, because of our recklessness. Either at the individual level or everybody's level. It's our responsibility as a nation, so that we protect each other.
Well, of course, now that is quite very interesting regarding this Global Road Safety Week. We need to protect each other, and of course, enforcing of the laws in this country could be one of the ways probably that could be of great help when it comes to calming down the massive crashes that are happening and also reducing on the expenditure, because in the long run, this has a long-term implication on the country's economic growth and development. Well, now as we're heading into the break, don't forget the markets on the Zabo platform, which opened at 8:15 a.m. and they'll be opening at 3:15 p.m. And now this is effective Monday up to Friday, except on the weekends and the public holidays when you can't access these markets. But at least you have the rest of the days, that is Monday up to Friday, to capitalize and make quite some good money for yourself. The economy is tough, and investing in such could be one of the ways for you to earn a side income. Like I said there, star 292 hash, definitely the USSD code. You'll have options. You can buy government bonds. It could be for 3 years. Regardless of the amount of time it takes to expire, you are in position to actually access these bonds, and life will be made much more easy. Yes, a reality for Zabu, platform from Alltech Securities, which enabled this to be something of real. Now, anywhere at any part of the country you are, you'll be able to access Zabu. Zabu says, "My money, my future," and the Alltech East Africa says, "Do something new." And now let's get into a short break. Of course, when we return, we shall be having the members of parliament, of course, opinions regarding road safety, of course, and also in relation to the Global Road Safety Week, and also getting to understand the economic implications that come as along when we don't have a stable road safety policy in the country. Stick around. Good morning.
Smart 24